Hi, Jan. I see you got kind of a Christmassy blouse on. It's kind of a plaid, like almost like a Christmas present wrapping.
Yeah, Julie just sent this one to her. So it's
That's neat.
new.
Yeah.
Yep, Julie just sent this one and another one in the mail.
Huh, good. Well, I got a little Christmas story here, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read to Jan a little bit, okay?
Okay.
It's called Kris, Krinkle, and the Moon Princess. But it's in two parts, and the first part is about the Moon Princess. Chapter 1, I'll just read one chapter today. Once, long ago, so long that the first books had not yet been written, and all the histories were stories told in song, the custom of Selentag was created among the dark, snow-carpeted forest of the Northland. The Valley of the Moon, ruled over by Princess Selene, was the heartland of the ancient custom. A change came upon the old practices after Prince Mazda found this valley lying peacefully within the path of his conquests. Prince Mazda, whose father ruled the Southland from the Mountain of the Sun, was skilled in the use of the sword and enjoyed using it. Also, he loved leading men into battle. When he became a man, he set forth to the Northland to found his own kingdom. Kings, queens, priests, prelates, and all periwigged persons possessing pompous palaces fell before his armies like heavy grain before the swing of a sharp sickle. Of all the monarchs who stood in his path, only Princess Selene did not fall. At night, in the moonlight alone, wearing furs and walking silently through the soft, snow-carpeted forest, the princess came to where his great army was camped on a craggy hill overlooking her valley. The mighty army lay like a sleeping monster, ready to sweep down on her little kingdom as soon as the dawn provided sufficient light for fighting. The sentry, who stood by a campfire with his long lance, looked into the blue moonlight surrounding the circle of orange light made by his fire and, seeing her, froze speechless with awe. It seemed to him that a woman of such beauty and breeding, appearing alone out of the moonlight and advancing toward an army, was beyond all explanation and understanding. He was filled with fear and wonder at what he thought must be an apparition. The princess approached him, stopped, studied him carefully, then spoke to him very calmly. "Your prince," she said, "is renowned for his courage in personal battle, even as much as for his valor in battle. Go to him and say that the Princess of the Moon stands here prepared to settle the issue planned for tomorrow's battle now, alone, sovereign to sovereign." Listening to her soft voice, the sentry was calmed from his fear that she was an apparition, but was awed at recognizing the bearing of the highest royalty together with the highest beauty of woman. He saluted her royalty with his long lance and started to go. Then he turned back tentatively and warned the beautiful woman against the path of folly she seemed to be following. "My prince does not compromise," he told her. "The Princess Selene does not compromise," she answered. "Full agreement to first demands must be reached, or one of us must die on this spot. Tell your prince the princess says to wear his sword." wearing his scarlet tunic and the fur cap that had been adopted for the Northland, and on his belt a short sword as if in ready for battle. Prince Mazda met and faced the princess where she stood by his campfire. They studied each other long in silence and found much ground for reciprocal admiration, but only their eyes gave it fleeting acknowledgement. At last the prince spoke, a little sharply. You, a princess and ruler of a great land, come to me alone and unannounced in the night. This is a matter of behavior that is strange to me and to any sovereign I have met before. I come to you this way, she said, to tell you that the ways of my people are not the ways of those who follow the Prince of the Sun. I know you plan to attack at dawn. Your armies are great, and my warriors are not so many. But my people are proud and ask no favors from their enemies. I do not come here seeking mercy. I come saying that if enemies could know each other better, any fight that had to come could then be waged against an enemy who, in part, might be loved and respected. It would thus become a nobler fight than battle waged against an opponent who was unknown and faceless. It is the custom of my people to meet as friends before they meet as enemies. The merit of this custom I now recommend to you. The prince thought on what she had said before he answered. The things you say I have not heard before, put into words, but they have in them a morsel of merit that often falls lost on the floor when brave words are spoken. Also, I find your face good to look upon. Speak what you have to say, and I will give you audience. The princess spoke quietly but very clearly. You are famed, she said, not only for your valor in battle, but also for your courage and fairness in personal combat. Therefore, you, a renowned warrior, may not think less of my people when I tell you that all differences in my land are settled by personal combat. This is because each man is his own sovereign. My title of princess is entirely an honorary one. The meaning of my title you may not understand easily because it is symbolic. To you, it may sound like a fairy tale of the sort your people tell to children to quiet them at bedtime. But the symbolism contained in my title of Princess Selene was not created to amuse children and quiet them with wide-eyed wonder, so that their dreams when they sleep will be happy. It was created to say, both to children and to adults, things that are too great for simple one-meaning words, things also too great for the empty equations of scientists and for the incantations with which priests seek to confuse the clear thinking of simple people. This symbolism, I tell you, I am Princess Selene, who am so named to honor the spirit of woman and the boundless depth of a woman's love. There, in the sky, gliding in and out amongst the clouds, rides a young moon that is also called Princess Selene by my people. It rules in the same way that I rule, only because it has been chosen as a symbol of something that endows it with honor by so naming it. But I and the moon are more than the equations of scientists or the incantations of priests, because we are also meaningful examples as well as symbols. As such, we are fit for the understanding of those who look with clear eyes at realities, as is the way of my people. She saw his attention to her words was wandering, so she broke off abruptly and changed to matters that were closer to the thoughts of a warrior. If you do not understand fully what I say, she continued, at least you would do well not to misunderstand. My people are not superstitious savages whose superstitions may be used to trick them into foolishness. If you attack at dawn, you will find competent warriors ready to meet you, warriors who have never turned back from a challenge without leaving their opponents dead on a field of battle. That custom of my people, you, a warrior, can readily appreciate. But we have another custom that to you may seem strange. A season we call Selentag began when yonder young moon first showed into night's sky. It will last until that same moon has grown full, and then will continue on until the moon has again shrunk to the same size and set in the west some 12 days hence. Among my people, a woman and a woman's love at all times are given honor equal to a man's courage and will. But because my men are exceptionally brave and zealous in the defense of honor, and because the winters are so long and dark in my country, we have designated a season around the first full moon after the winter solstice when a woman's love is not only honored equally with a man's valor, it is honored absolutely. During this time, woman and woman's love are honored wholly and exclusively, while the spirit of man sleeps quietly, even as beneath a deep snow, a bear goes into hibernation. Anyone who provokes or issues a challenge during Selentag without extremely good cause is held in contempt by my people. He forgoes the honor usually accorded a brave man who fights with judgment and fairness when in honor he cannot avoid fighting. Often men who drink and sing the songs of Selentag together forget their differences and fail to issue the challenges that their restraint has caused them to hold back in deference to the holidays. It would be a very wild hope to dream that your whole army of men, with their strange customs, masked warfare, could be persuaded to withdraw after becoming acquainted with the magic of Selentag. I have such hope only in very small extent, but if you would meet warriors as warriors rather than contemptuously kill those who kill you with contempt, then I ask that you withhold your attack until the set of yonder moon, after she has become full and has again become as small on the other side as now she is on this side. That will be 12 nights hence. The prince had listened carefully. He answered in a tone as calm as that of the princess, albeit his voice had in it the sharp edges of a man who commands men. I gave my word, and I have heard you out, but such a request never before have I heard from a ruler who stood before me, unless it was a game of guile and treachery. Guile and treachery, therefore, I have looked for. Clearly, you have some faint hope of making friends, and so avoiding battle, but this hope you have told me plainly. For some reason, I believe less what experience teaches for this occasion than what I see. A truth in your eyes tells me you hold back nothing. I believe it. Therefore, I will lay bare my thoughts. The valor and steadfastness of your men in battle is known wherever brave men tell awesome stories of courage around campfires. Not only have I wished to find a way of avoiding the losses I knew would come to my armies with tomorrow's battle, I have searched on many sleepless nights for a way to win the favor of your men and bring them under my banner. And now, in the night, alone and uncomforted, even by an honor guard, you come here and offer me a greater opportunity than my wildest dreams could have imagined. You seem as a child who, seeing it only as a petty bauble, might offer to a stranger a king's crown set with priceless jewels. I am eager to grant your request. If I should do so, I could make use of my considerateness by seeking to win the fidelity of your warriors. But I am a prince and a warrior. I do not like to take priceless treasures from a mere child who knows not what it offers. Convince me you understand what you are doing, and I will grant your request with joy. I am Princess Selene. I know what I must do, as the moon knows what the moon must do, and like the moon, I know from whence comes the light that is mine, only to the extent that I reflect it. I do nothing here. My men are all sovereign. I wield no sword and command no army. Like the moon, I give only what is mine to give, a something that comes to me without my asking. By exacting from your men oaths of allegiance, you have taken from them their own souls. You have taught them to act when you command them. Yours alone is the present decision. If you command your men to attack at dawn, we both know what will happen. If you do not attack, the hospitality customary in the Valley of the Moon at Selentag time stands open before you. I, Princess Selene, am here to proclaim to you the customs of Selentag. Each night, while the moon is young, open house will be held by the older children of every hearthside. Adults and small children go from house to house, everywhere welcomed to enter, eat, and drink by any hearth fire, and to join in songs and merriment. On the night of the full moon, and from noontime of the day preceding it to noontime of the day that follows, it is customary for everyone to travel as little as possible, all remaining as house guests in whatever home the preceding midday finds them, because all are inside by their hearth fires in congenial happiness. The full moon shines down on a silent night in profound peace, as woman's love would have it. Then, during the nights following, while the moon wanes to its present size again, the adults and small children hold open house, and all the older children visit. They then are entertained with food, drink, songs, and merriment. As strangers having no homes of your own, you and all your men would be everywhere welcome throughout the whole of Selentag time. I suggest that during the whole time, all of your men could take turns making a round of visits, leaving always the great bulk of your forces armed and intact against any possible treachery, a treachery that you will not find. You will need to instruct your men in this one thing only. It is our custom at all times, even in Selentag, that death must be dealt swiftly to any man who fails to honor a woman's unspoken withholding of her love until she formally announces a man by whom she will bear children. The dealing of that death to any of your own men who violate the custom would have to be done by the leader who commands them. This you would be expected to take upon your own hands. You are a leader of men, and you know that your failure in this matter would earn you the mortal enmity of my people. If your men are well instructed in this matter and accept our hospitality in the spirit it is extended, you may attract many of my men to follow your banners. I must tell you that if this happens, it will not be to my liking, but such matters are not those to be decided by a moon princess. The moon and the sun move in separate orbits. I do not have in my heart the ways of combat, even as a man does not have in his heart the ways of a woman's love. But I honor men who do what they must, and I, as a woman, expect to be honored. What my men do in this matter is between you and them. I, Princess Selene, have spoken. With his eyes overbrimming with admiration for the beautiful moon princess, Prince Mazda told her she could tell her men to put away their swords and tell all her people to prepare for additional guests during Selentag. She thanked him, and as she turned to go, added graciously, I hope the prince will find time to visit Princess Selene during Selentag season. She then bowed, gave him a smile given freely, and disappeared into the snow-carpeted forest. Even as in fairy tales written for children, the prince did visit the princess, and they found great joy in each other that became love between them. But that is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning. So that's all for today. I love you, Jan.